For your homework, number 18 is y-intercept at 0, 1, and no x-intercepts, and no symmetry. Your 20, your y-intercept is at 0, -3. Your x-intercept's at -2, 0, 2, 0, and you have y-axis symmetry. 22, your y-intercept is at 0, 2, 0, -2. X-intercept is at 2, 0, -2, 0. It has origin, y-axis, and x-axis symmetry. On 24, your y-intercept is at 0, 0. Your x-intercepts are at -4, 0, 0, 0, and 4, 0. You have origin symmetry. On 26, I would make it look like a parabola that's going sideways. On 28, I'd make it look like a circle. On 30, there's my graph. 32, there is my graph. 34, I'd said 0, 0 is your intercept and origin. 36, 2, 0, -2, 0, 0, 4, and your y-axis is your symmetry. For 38, I said you have an x-intercept at -1, 0, 0, 1, 0, -1, and x-axis symmetry. On 40, you have intercepts at 0, 0, and at 2, 0, and -2, 0 with origin symmetry. 42, you got 5, 0, -5, 0, 0, 5, 0, -5. It has x, y, and origin symmetry. 44, you got an intercept at -4, 0, -2, 0, and 0, 8. There is no symmetry. 46, you got an intercept at 4, 0, at 0, 4, and no symmetry. 48, you have an intercept at 2, 0, -2, 0, no y-intercepts, and origin symmetry. For 20, your domain is -2, -1, 3, and 4, and your range is 3, 5, 7, and 12, and it is a function. 22, you got domain of 0, 1, 2, 3, range of -2, 3, 7, and it is a function. For number 24, it is not a function. I went ahead and stated the domain and range, but I don't believe you have to if it's not a function. 26, it is a function, and you got domain of -2, -1, 0, 1, and your range is 3, 4, and 16. For 40A, holy Toledo, you have -1, B, -2, C, -4, D, -2x squared minus x minus 1. Has to be the exact same as what I just said. E is 2x squared minus x plus 1. Exact same. F is -2x squared minus 3x minus 2. G is -8x squared plus 2x minus 1. H is -2x squared minus 4xh minus 2h squared plus x plus h minus 1. For 42A, we got -1/4. B is 0. C is 0. D is x squared minus 1 over -x plus 4. E is 1 minus x squared over x plus 4. F is x squared plus 2x over x plus 5. G is 4x squared minus 1 over 2x plus 4. H is x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus 1 over x plus h plus 4. 48, your domain is all real numbers. So -infinity to infinity. 50, we got -infinity to infinity. 52, we have -infinity to -2, -2 to 2, and 2 to infinity. 54, we got -infinity to -2, -2 to 0, 0 to 2, and 2 to infinity. 56, we got -infinity to 1 with a bracket. 58, we got 4 with a parenthesis to infinity. 60, we have -infinity to -2 with a bracket on -2. For 62A, we got 5x minus 1, which is -infinity to infinity. B is -x plus 3, -infinity to infinity. C is 6x squared minus x minus 2, -infinity to infinity. D is 2x plus 1 over 3x minus 2, -infinity to 2/3 and 2/3 to infinity. 64 is 4x cubed plus 2x squared plus 4, -infinity to infinity. B is -4x cubed plus 2x squared plus 2, -infinity to infinity. C is 8x to the 5th plus 12x cubed plus 2x squared plus 3, -infinity to infinity. D is 2x squared plus 3 over 4x cubed plus 1, and it is -infinity to the cube root of -1/4, and the cube root of -1/4 to infinity. 66 is the absolute value of x plus x, -infinity to infinity. B is the absolute value of x minus x, -infinity to infinity. C is x times the absolute value of x, negative infinity to infinity. D is the absolute value of x over x, negative infinity to 0 and 0 to infinity. 68 is the square root of x minus 2 plus the square root of 4 minus x. The domain for that one is 2 to 4 with brackets on it. B is the square root of x minus 2 to minus the square root of 4 minus x. That is 2 to 4 with brackets on those. C is the square root of x minus 2 times the square root of 4 minus x. You can simplify it, and there's your answer. And it is 2 to 4 as well with brackets. D is the square root of x minus 2 over the square root of 4 minus x. This one is 2 to 4, but 2 has a bracket and 4 does not because it would make the bottom 0. For 70, you got the square root of x plus 2 over x. Your domain is negative 1 to 0. Negative 1 has a bracket, 0 does not, and then 0 to infinity. B is the square root of x plus 1 minus 2 over x. C is 2 times the square root of x plus 1 over x. D is x times the square root of x plus 1 over 2. Here are your domains. They are all the same for A, B, and C. As I said for A was, D is negative 1 to infinity with a bracket on negative 1. 72, we get, what in the world? G is x minus 1 over x plus 1. All right. So, please have your scores for those so you can bring them for next time. The next part of the chapter is dealing with looking at a graph. So, we have this lovely graph here with certain points. This graph, I believe, is in your textbook on section 2-3. That's what section we're getting ready to start. So here are some things that it wants us to find on this graph. So we're going to look at this graph and state those things. So it says find f of 0. That means when 0 is x, what's your y value? So if we look when x is 0 right here. Our dot on our curve is 0, 3. So f of 0 would equal 3. So that's what our y value is for that ordered pair. This is saying f of negative 6. So negative 6 is our x. So I'm going to look for with negative 6 is our x value. What is our y value? Negative 3. So we have f of negative 6 equals negative 3. So you look at your ordered pair and you find the x value that they're asking for the y value. Okay? So they want to know if f of 3 is positive or negative. So when x is 3, is your y value positive or is it negative? So we find f of 3. It doesn't have an actual dot. There's no distinct ordered pair labeled, but it is up here in this vicinity. So is y positive or negative? Should say positive. So this is asking for what numbers of x is f of x equal to 0. So they want to know the x values this time if y is 0. Well, y is 0 along the x-axis, so we're going to list those ordered pairs. So we have x equals negative 3 is our first one right there. We have this one right here when x is 6. And we have this last one when x is 10. This is asking for what the domain of f is. So what x values is the graph going to and from? And it has closed dots on our ends. So our arrows, if it had arrows, that means our graph would be going on forever. So you would say negative infinity to infinity. But these are closed dots, so it stops. So our x value starts at negative 6. And we're going to put a bracket. And it goes to 11 with a bracket. What are the x-intercepts? We already stated those in the previous bullet, so I'm going to list them as ordered pairs because remember Mrs. Albers is crazy and she wants you to list them as ordered pairs, so I'm going to copy those numbers down. How often does the line y equals 0.5 intersect the graph? So y equals 0.5 is right here. It's a horizontal line. Remember, horizontal because if you switch the y upside down, it makes an h. So y is 0.5 right here, here, and here. So 3 spots. So 3 times. For what values of x is f of x equal to -2? So that's asking when is your y value -2? So we look at our graph for -2. We get -5. And there's another ordered pair right here. So 8. And you're done. Yeah, go you.